Seeker. Written by Suzana Thompson. Performed by Heather Firth. Chapter 12. It's a relief not to have to babysit Silas in the bathroom, and I toast some waffles for him while he takes care of nature's call. Want some syrup? I ask when he joins me in the kitchen. He looks at the bottle I indicated. I don't know, he replies. I realize that he's never tasted it before, so I slather butter on one waffle and pour syrup over it. Okay, try it this way and see if you like it. He sits down at the table where I place the plate with his waffle. There is no hesitation this time when he picks up the knife and fork to cut the waffle into pieces. I noticed him watching us use the utensils at dinner yesterday before picking them up himself. If he didn't know how to use them before, he's apparently a fast learner. Thinking about that makes me wonder what else he needs to learn, especially if he's never been to school. Do you know how to read? Yes, he answers before putting a piece of syrup-drenched waffle into his mouth. Since he doesn't make a look of distaste, I assume he likes it. Who taught you to read? I question in surprise. He's already stabbing his fork into the next piece of waffle. I just know, just as I knew language from the start. Do you know any other languages besides English? I inquire. He chews and swallows the food in his mouth before replying. All of them. I gape at him in disbelief. You know all the languages. All of them in the whole world. Yes. He mumbles around the next piece of waffle he's shoved into his mouth. How is that possible? I exclaim. He looks at his plate but doesn't take another piece of food yet. When people began to speak in different languages, I understood them all. My kind did not suffer the confusion that the people did. I'm still grasping his amazing ability to speak every language. Why were the people confused? They could no longer understand each other. He explains before his desire for more food wins out over participating in our conversation. I stare at him in silence. His explanation reminded me of a Bible story, but he can't mean that it's actually true. I could ask him, but I'm not sure if I could handle the answer. May I have more syrup? He asks, and I see that his plate is now empty. He even uses proper grammar, I note, as I get up and bring him the syrup and the other waffle I toasted. After he devours it, I toast him 2 more. He appears to be satisfied after he eats them and drinks the glass of milk I poured for him. You've got to learn to do this stuff for yourself, I remark, but I'm still distracted by what he said. I push those thoughts to the back of my mind. Whether he was referring to the Bible story or not, that is in the distant past. It doesn't matter now, and I need to focus on what does. He can't go see his guardian in pajama pants, so I have to find him something else to wear. My brother's clothes won't fit him, because Silas is taller than Justin. He appears to be the same height as my dad, but he's much thinner. Since I have no other options, I raid Dad's closet and pull out a pair of dress pants and a belt to hold them up on Silas's skinny frame. He won't have a t-shirt anymore either after he removes it, so I pick out a dress shirt to go with the pants. If Silas has underwear, they won't exist after he takes them off to shower. I can't bring myself to rummage through my dad's underwear drawer, though, so Silas will have to do without them until he can buy his own. I carry the clothes I picked out for him into my room and set them down on my bed. It'll be easier for you to get dressed in here, I explain. You can use the shower up here, and I'll just wait downstairs until you're done. I lead him into the bathroom and repeat what I told him last night about how to use the shower. After giving him a couple of clean towels from the linen closet, I leave him on his own. My attempt to distract myself by watching TV is unsuccessful. I was too nervous about hiding him from my parents last night to really think about the magnitude of the situation. Silas is starting life from scratch. He may have been an ancient being, but now he is a person without even any clothes on his back. If it wasn't for me, well, if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't even be in this situation. He would be attending to the dying, as he calls it. I wonder if another of his kind has replaced him. Where would they even find anyone to replace him? Where did Silas come from in the first place? It's one of those incomprehensible mysteries, like the origin of the universe. I'm deep in thought until I see Silas approaching me in my dad's clothes. They are big on him, and he makes such a different impression in the gray dress pants and white dress shirt than in his all-black goth look. His wet hair also gives him a more vulnerable look. I see his bare feet, which escaped my notice when he was wearing the pajama pants. "Did your boots disappear too?" I ask. "Yes, when I took them off last night," he answers. The shoes could be a real problem if his feet are bigger than Dad's, but we're fortunate in that respect. Dad's shoes turn out to be a perfect fit. "Take them off," I instruct. "I'll go get you a pair of socks." I discover that one side of the dresser in my parents' room contains Mom's clothes, and the other side is Dad's stuff. I quickly close the top drawer on that side because I see Dad's underwear in there. The next one contains his socks, and I grab a pair for Silas. When I go back downstairs, I find him watching the TV I left on. "She doesn't know who the father of her baby is," he tells me. I pick up the remote control and turn off the TV. We have bigger problems. I call for a taxi since we don't have a car. While we wait for it to arrive, I tell Silas to let me do the talking when we see his guardian, although I'm not sure how I'll answer his questions about his sudden guardianship of a grown boy. I'm a little annoyed about using more of my limited funds on Silas, but I pay for the taxi when it deposits us at the address Abel gave me. It's a small office in a small office building, and seeing the unimpressive place makes me worry that Abel has no idea how much money Silas would need to survive. Maybe he has no knowledge of how much things cost in the modern world. We go inside and are greeted by a bored receptionist. "May I help you?" "We're here to see, I realize that I don't even know the man's name. Why didn't Abel mention his name? "Do you have an appointment?" the receptionist asks, with no real interest in us. I begin. "I'm here to see my guardian," Silas says. That sparks a bit of curiosity in her. "Is he one of our clients?" "He's a lawyer," he replies. "He's, the man who works here," I explain, hoping she won't question me about his name. "Jack is your guardian?" she asks dubiously. I try not to sound as desperate as I feel. "Can we see him, please?" She picks up a phone and presses a button before speaking into it. "Jack, some kid is here to see you. He says you're his guardian." After a moment, she murmurs okay and stands to open the door to his office. The man inside smiles at us and urges us to sit down in the chairs facing him. He is dressed in a business suit and looks better than most men his age. I guess him to be in his 50s, judging by his completely gray hair and the crow's feet by his eyes. But his trim physique could belong to a much younger man. "You must be Silas," he says. His glance shifts to me. "And you are?" "I'm Mila," I answer. "She's my friend," Silas adds. "Nice to meet you. I'm Jack Cole, he tells me. I need to talk to Silas alone. If you could just wait outside in the reception area for a minute. He needs me, I insist. He's not used to talking to strangers. Jack's gaze sharpens. I'm his guardian, so I'm hardly a stranger. But he's never met you before, I exclaim. Jack is looking at me with suspicion in his eyes. How long have you known Silas? His demeanor is making me nervous. A long time, I reply. Since she was a child, Silas elaborates. Jack's gaze shifts to him. And how long did you know Robert? Who's Robert? Silas questions. He was probably the benefactor, I tell him. Mr. Cole was his lawyer. Jack Cole stands suddenly. I don't know who you are, but you better leave. No, I plead. Please help us. I can't keep hiding him in my house. My parents will find out and throw him out, and he has nowhere to go. We can't even ask the police to help him because they'll want to know who he is. I open my purse and dig out my driver's license. This is me. I thrust it in his face. Silas doesn't have one because nobody even knows that he exists. Jack takes my license and studies it for a moment. He looks up from it and sweeps an intense gaze from me to Silas. What kind of shit are you kids mixed up in? We can't tell you, I say, and take a gamble with my next statement. The police didn't know about Robert, and they don't know about Silas. Jack's eyes widen in shock. Who the fuck are you? Why are you talking about the police? Silas asks. We haven't committed any crimes. You set this whole thing up. Jack accuses me. How do you know about Robert? He demands with a threatening expression. Are you a cop? I'm 16. I respond in desperation instead of being sensibly afraid of this suddenly scary man, who obviously knew that Robert was a hitman. How could I be a cop? If the police could help me, I'd be talking to them instead of you. Abel said that he took care of this. I continue. He told me that Robert wanted to do a good deed before he died, and that he would help Silas. Who is Abel? Jack questions in a less intimidating tone. A priest, I lie. Abel's a priest. Jack barks out a laugh. Holy crap. Robert went soft. Please help us, I beg. He doesn't even have any clothes. These are my dad's. I don't know whether my pathetic plea convinces him, or if he wants to fulfill Robert's last request. Whatever you were involved with ends now, he warns us. If you bring any heat on me, We won't, I assure him quickly. Nobody here even knows that Silas exists. He's starting a brand new life. I want to go to school with Mila, Silas states. He needs you to register him there, I say. Abel thought he'd want to go to a priest school, but he wants to go to my school. Jack exhales, and the tension in the room dissipates. He sits down and locates a folder in his desk drawer. I'm surprised by this old-fashioned method of record-keeping when he could just store everything on his computer. Which school? He asks. I answer with the name of my school, and he writes it down. I'll have his documentation tomorrow, and I should be able to register him then. What's your phone number? He asks Silas. I don't have a phone, Silas replies. Jack stares at him in astonishment. He has nothing, I stress. Things went that bad, Jack muses. You had to leave that quick. His gaze pierces Silas. Is there any way they can find you? Credit card bills for hotel rooms, phone calls to someone you left behind. I have never spoken on the telephone, Silas states. He doesn't have a credit card. That's why I have to pay for everything. I explain. Jack ignores me and talks to Silas. You keep in contact through email? He doesn't have a computer, I declare in annoyance. I told you he doesn't have anything. I don't know how to use a computer, Silas says. You don't? I exclaim. Jack smiles approvingly at Silas. Smart guy. Everything you do on the computer can be traced back to you. I'll be going to school with Mila tomorrow? Silas questions. Probably the following day, Jack replies. I'll register you tomorrow. Where is he gonna live? I worry. I can't keep hiding him in my room. Jack glances at me with an altogether different smile. He grins at Silas. Smart boy. His remark pleases Silas. If I'm smart, I'll do well in school. Jack chuckles. You're a riot, kid. Where's he gonna live? I repeat. He can stay in my apartment, Jack offers. You're letting him move in with you? I inquire in surprise. I'm hardly ever there, Jack says. It stays empty most of the time. Oh, thank you, I exclaim. Yes, thank you, Silas echoes in a calmer tone. You'll be 18 by the time Robert's estate goes through probate, Jack tells him. You can find your own place then. I'm so relieved that he has somewhere to live now that I don't worry about the future at all.